Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody, for whoever is joining us from here from Europe. Good morning for everyone in the US. My name is Kamal Hakim, and I am a project manager at Gen USA. We are a company that supports European companies with their plans for expansion in the US. In just a moment, I'll share a little bit more about what we do. This afternoon, we're joined with Mauro Bendelli. He's partner of Gen USA. He's the founder partner. He created this company about 15 or so years ago. And within that time, we've been able to support dozens of companies with their expansion plans to the US. This afternoon, we're going to talk about something very important to almost everybody on this planet, something that we've been receiving a lot of calls about, something that changes every day, and that is the tariffs, Donald Trump's tariffs plan on foreign companies selling their goods into the US. Specifically, from a European American perspective, as you can all hear from my voice, I'm actually American, but I've been living in Europe for the past 5 years, specifically in Milan. And I guess what I can bring is a unique perspective as someone who lived through Trump's first term while in the US working there, and then now seeing how it's really affecting European companies in such a more direct way this time around, while actually being here in Europe. Throughout the hour, I'll share with you a little bit more in detail, up to the minute updates with these tariffs. As everybody knows, it changes from day to day. It's the biggest TV series in history. Mauro and I like to joke about it every day. Just what's new. Nobody really knows what's coming. Anyway, so just a quick overview. As I mentioned before, my name is Kamal. I'm a project manager at Gen USA. I will give a little bit of an overview about the tariffs to date, and my perspective as an American working with European companies. Mauro, on the other hand, will give specific actions, specific tools to limit the ongoing economic impact to yourselves and to your companies exporting products to the US, and also give a little bit of an overview on what the world can expect over the next 20 to 50 years in terms of economic growth between the US, China, and some other key players such as India, as well as perhaps some uh, actions that other European countries are taking in regards to these tariffs. So to begin, I wanted to mention that with Zoom, we do have automatic simultaneous translations powered with AI. So if English is not your first language and you would like to read subtitles in Spanish, French, German, whatever, there's 80 something languages supported. You can click on the CC button in the bottom right-hand corner. And from there, just make sure to select that you have the translation on, and then choose your spoken language and your language of subtitles here. I have a screenshot in Italian for one of our Italian colleagues, but just make sure to go ahead and set that up so that way you can have the automated captions in your language. Now, to begin, I wanted to share a little bit about what is the support like for tariffs in the US. Um, I hate to say it, but many people in the US actually support these tariffs. They support the fact that it was launched by Donald Trump only because over the past 30 to 50 years, there's been a lot of economic instability in the heartland of America. The people who are producing cars, manufacturing, so on and so forth, have been losing jobs at an incredibly high rate, much higher than, let's say, the more blue collar type of jobs. Just last week, I was in Las Vegas, maybe 2 weeks ago, for a conference for a pizza expo. And while I was there, it was my first time back in the US in a few months, and I wanted to get a feel for what the general population is thinking. And over there in Nevada, it's considered a swing state, the state where Las Vegas is, which means it flips every 4 years between voting for Democrat or Republican. Specifically, in this most recent election, Nevada voted for Trump. The election before it was for Biden, for Trump before that, for Obama 2 times. So the general population is pretty evenly split in terms of their economic and political points of views. While I was there, I made it a point to speak to several locals, whether that be people in a taxi or in restaurants and bars, just to get an idea of what they're thinking. Every single person told me that their support for Donald Trump is stronger now than it was when they voted for him. Not a single person I spoke to told me that they did not vote for Trump. Now, this probably is because most of the people that I spoke with are, working in the service industries, and they're much more shielded, they think, from the overall import-export nature of our economy. But this is just to set up the standards. So everything that we talk about moving forward is from this point of view that many Americans support this. Now, is this the right decision? Is it the wrong decision? That's not for me to say. Unfortunately, it's making a lot of issues at the time. However, in general, that there is not as much of a pushback in the US as there is here in Europe. Many people view the tariffs as a necessary step to protect American jobs. As I mentioned previously, many of these jobs have been moving abroad, and so these, let's say, less college educated individuals who have worked their whole lives in doing a certain trade or a certain skill have nowhere to go when the factory moves out of the city. So they believe that these tariff measures could lead to better trade deals and manufacturing moving back to the United States. Um, whether or not this is going to happen, whether or not when let's say these manufacturing plants get rebuilt in the United States, will probably be more automated. Maybe it won't require as much labor as before, but that's in their minds right now. Another tool is it's seen as a leveraging tool. So when Trump announced these super high tariffs right off the bat, these so-called reciprocal tariffs, many people are thinking, okay, this is necessary because over the past decades, other countries have been putting tariffs onto the United States. Now we need to hit them back harder so that it brings them to the negotiating table. A lot of the talk in the US, at least in the past 10 years from Donald Trump and his administration and all of his people, is that the countries of the world are taking advantage of the US. Um, Again, whether it's true or not, it's not for me to decide, but this is what is going on in the US, and this is what people are believing when it's what they see on the news, it's what they read on Twitter, and what Trump is saying to his people. So imagine this is 10 years straight, every single day of somebody telling you something. Some people will believe it. Uh, One final thing that I thought was extremely interesting is that last week, the United Auto Workers Association Union in the United States published a letter where they vocalized their support for Donald Trump and his tariffs on the United States, on foreign imports to the United States. While it doesn't seem surprising because the United Auto Workers Union it is as it says. So it's the union of auto workers in the United States, and so they're there to protect the jobs in the manufacturing in the US. However, what is interesting to me, at least, is that in the past, unions and unionized workers voted Democrat, voted liberal for at least my whole lifetime, and even before that. It's very rare to find somebody that works in a union or for the union itself to support a Republican candidate. And for a statement like this to come out from a union, it goes to show that there is support for these tariffs, even from outside the base of Donald Trump. So I hope this sets the scene about what we're going to talk about. And just briefly, I want to share some more about what we do at Gen USA to give you a little bit of an overview of our background and our experience. Gen USA, we're an American company, first and foremost. We are based in Florida. We also have offices New York, Delaware, LA, and in Milan as our European hub. We support European companies step by step to have a continuous presence in the US. We are a team of Americans here in Europe and Europeans in America that helps European companies establish subsidiaries in the United States, get warehouse logistics, hub support, customer service. We are the turnkey operation for your business in the United States. Because of this cross-cultural dynamic, we can offer experiences from both sides as the American point of view in Europe and also the European and cultural point of view in the US. Why do some of our customers choose Gen USA? It's because our focus is mainly on the US market. We have over 15 years of experience in the US market. Every single one of our collaborators has experience dealing with the United States, dealing with doing business in the United States, separate from working for us. And we are the one-stop source as an effective way at every stage of your business development, from helping you with your initial business plans to managing fully operational activities in the US, and now dealing with these, let's say, roadblocks, these bumps along the way to overcome them and hopefully be successful in the US. As I mentioned before, we've got several offices in the US, New York, Miami, Delaware. Also, we have one in LA, and our European hub is in Milan. I will share the screen again at the end if you want to contact us. Our email is right here below. Gen USA is part of the wider Gen network. We've got several affiliates all over the world. One of our largest is actually Gen Emirates, which is based in Dubai in one of the free zones. And so over there, we help our clients that we help in the US, but expand to the Middle East. Our next opening hopefully will be Hong Kong. We've got Gen Arabia, Gen Brazil is in the works as well, and also Gen India. I would categorize our services into three different buckets. The first one is advisory services. So, getting to know the competitive market, analyzing the market, creating feasibility studies, also searching for loans, making sure that the right location that you choose is in your best interest for the type of business that you plan to operate in terms of taxes, because in the US, taxes are based on where you choose, specifically what county, what city, what state. We also support with legal and tax support. We have several partners in the US who we've trusted over the years to provide these kind of services. And then also we support visas for employees, European employees that go to the US. We've done, I think, just in the last year, over 50 B1 visas, which is the business visa to the United States, the simple one where you send somebody to go work on a project there for a limited time. We've also done several E1, E2 visas, and then we've done a couple L1 visas. Our second bucket of services falls under management. So once you decide to open in the United States, once you have a subsidiary there, we are your, let's say, one-stop source to support you throughout your activities, except for sales. So what we like to say is when you come to the United States, we will give you a virtual office in our office. We have a team of dedicated people to support your business with customer service activities, answering phone calls, sending emails, making sure your product logistically gets from your home country in Europe to the United States to the end user. On the other hand, we can support you with finding the right salespeople that will work directly for your company to increase the sales and revenues for your business. Um, and that goes with also with HR, with payroll. So we have our team can help with, let's say, everything else that except for building sales. The last bucket of services that we offer, M&A or Greenfield. We've done a couple of these projects where we are tasked with trying to find warehouse space, relocating uh, small manufacturing from other countries to the United States in the due diligence process, integrating this new warehouse into your operations, site selection, and then temporary management, where you can hire one of our people for a set number of months to get through maybe a particular period or a particular project that you have going on, and then passing it over to yourself internally. Just a few of our customers. And then now for the meat of the presentation, the tariffs. As we all know, it changes every single day, many times a day. Uh, as of the 9th of April, the Trump administration has put a pause of 90 days on the so-called reciprocal tariffs above 10%. What is in effect, though, for at least the next 90 days is a 10% base tariff for every country except for China, which I'll talk about in a bit. It's a 10% duty for products imported from all countries around the world. In addition, there is still the 25% duty on steel, aluminum, cars, and car components. And this covers every country in the world who wants to export those specific products to the United States. They would be taxed, tariffed at a 25% rate. Now, for China, we all know that Trump is really pushing hard on trying to make a deal with them, and because of this, he's increasing a lot their tariffs. As of now, it's 125% added on to the 20% tariff that he added back in February, I believe, which was he was justified by the fentanyl crisis that's happening. So, in effect, the duty is 145% for products imported directly from China. And then for Mexico and Canada, there's the free trade deal in the United States, which Trump actually negotiated in his first term, the USMCA. And this covers the bulk of the trade between Canada, US, and Mexico. Um, Anything that does not fall into that trade agreement is tariffed at 25%. So that did not go away. As for European businesses, which I believe the vast majority of the people watching us today are, the one thing you need to know is that there's a 10% duty for all products. Additionally, if you have a business that imports steel, aluminum, cars, or car components, there's a 25% duty on those products. There are a few exclusions, though. Some pharmaceutical products at the moment are excluded from tariffs. HS code listed on the screen over here. Copper, as well as some codes listed on here. Semiconductors, those that are used for different processes in the United States, at least for now, they're excluded from the tariffs. Semi-finished technological products. This one is something to really look into because they may be subject to different rates depending on the content, I guess the level of advancement of the technology and the relevance to US security. So it's on a case by case basis, I would say, based on what it is that you are producing. And then some other products that are not of strategic, some other products that are of strategic importance include temporary changes or increase in tariffs might be possible because of national security reasons. For example, there was a rumor floating around the other day that Trump was going to announce additional tariffs specifically for pharmaceutical products. However, nothing has been announced as of now. Something else that is not included are software and consultancy. That was something that our clients asked us a lot about, so we did some more research regarding that, and I can announce that they are not included in the tariffs at the moment. Some more items that are excluded are special specific luxury goods, such as gold jewelry, which are considered a precious investment metals, certain digital services, and then goods with a value less than 800 USD. This is called the de minimis clause, and you might have seen something in the news that Trump is closing that gap. But rest assured that that only applies to China and Hong Kong. For now, at least, any product coming from any country besides China and Hong Kong at the moment, if the value is less than $800 to the end customer, is exempt from tariffs. Additionally, timber and wood products, whether it's a raw product or sawn and cut already, those are excluded. Certain strategic minerals and metals, such as nickel, cobalt, graphite, and lithium and tungsten, are excluded. Additionally, some more rare earths are as well. Crude oil, natural gas, coal, and lignite are excluded, except for certain energy products coming from Canada, which are tariffed at 10%. However, from Europe, it's not included. And then certain informational materials such as books, films, works of art, and donations are also excluded. So now I take the opportunity to pass it on to Mauro Bendelli, partner of Gen USA. He's going to go more in depth in regards to how he sees the economy going over the near term and the long term. And then he'll pass it back to me, where I will give some suggestions on how to proceed to continue your success in the US.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you for your time. I see that there are already some questions that I will be happy to answer in some minutes, if we can, of course. And in the meantime, I'll show you what could be some action to cope, to start some action, to start some strategies to cope with the duty that are ongoing during these weeks. But what I would like to say that still the US market is very, very important. It's very important because all the projection in the next 50 years says that it will be one of the biggest country in the world. And for a company, it's not possible to give up to this market. As you see, Goldman Sachs or Bloomberg, they say that the US market will be one of the largest market and they will compete with China, India, and so on. So unfortunately, the European market is going to slow down a little bit and as Japan will do. This is why the approach to this market should be with a long-term vision, not so it means that a company that want to deal with this market cannot be worried about a tariff of 10 or 20% because this kind of tariffs, also the tax system or whatever could, and also the currency exchange could change many times in many years. So it means that we have to focus on the market and what the market can give to the company. And also, what I can say is is that just a moment. I'm doing a screen. Okay, what I can say is that this market cannot be left. Also because also the American counterpart is in the same difficulty as the European company because also the importer, the distributor, the agent in the US are they have also customers, and it's very hard to them for them to tell that they have to afford a 10% or 20% more of a custom tariff. So uh, also on the other part, on the side of the other market, they are not, they're fighting, they will fight against these tariffs. And also, it will be a period of a time when it will be also for them very hard to make business. So it's not acceptable to be considered to leave them, and otherwise the European company will be considered unreliable and opportunist. So what I can say that is we can think that to accept a period of loss, a period a period during we could accept a reduced margins on the sales and investment, and it could be considered a further investment on what you have already done in the past in this market. So what could be the strategies? What could be the action to cope with this tariff? At the moment, there is the duty of 10% all over from all the European countries. And the reciprocal tariffs are suspended for 90 days. I hope that they will be suspended for many times. Um, Also, what I can say that, of course, the companies that are only they only export, they only sell in US will be much affected about this tariff because they don't have any legal entity on the other side of the ocean. Uh, some uh, the companies with a commercial branch can use that subsidiary to reduce the impact of the duties. And of course, the company that will have a production of uh, they can the what we can say that the impact of the duty will be much lower because of course they already produce there and I can believe that the the components and the supply chain will be already the supplier of raw material will be already in US. So what exporting companies they can do? First of all, it is very important to rebuild the contracts because and then who is going to absorb this margin is not fair. I would not suggest to ask the last customer to accept to accept to ask to pay the customer all the duties. Otherwise, we are going to lose a part of the market. Then we have the first sales rule. I will explain later what that does mean, but it can help a lot. Also, exporting company that can set up a US legal entity. In this way, they can sell first to their subsidiary and then to the local customer. In this way, the uh, uh, the the duty will affect only on the cost of on the transfer pricing between the European company to the US subsidiary. Then it could be time to think to a rebranding of the product to make it more exclusive to justify an increase of the price. And remember that all the shipment of with a value below $800 will not be affected by the duty. For commercial company, of course, what could be suggested is to bring a portion of the production in the US, so they can lower the impact of the duties. Um, they can use the free zone that are spread all over the US. There are already 250 free zone in US available. And I will explain what does it mean to to, um, to stock and in goods in this free zone. Of course, for this company, it will be interesting to work and on the transfer pricing. Will be interesting to break down this pricing and to divide the section of the value that are related to the production, the raw material, and divide this this cost and to highlight what is the section regarding the branding, the assistance, the maintenance, and all the ancillary services. Okay, I'll try to explain a little bit more about the first sale rule. It is a US custom rule that allows, in case of chain of sales, that import duties to be calculated on the price of the first sale from the manufacturer to the intermediary, rather than on the final price paid to the importer. It means that if I buy a product from a supplier and I sell to a US customer, a US customer, uh, mm, the and of course, if this product it will be um, it will be stated that the final destination is in the US. So the duty will be charged only on the value of the first transaction from the first supplier to the first customer that sell in US. This is this is very important. So the first sales rule can allow the duty to be charged only on a small value of the transaction. This is very important. Of course, the compliance and the documentation that are needed to be provided are very high. But when the tariffs goes up, it is better to use this tool. Also, regarding the free zone are the specific area where in the US where the goods can be stopped and the tariffs are not paid until the goods doesn't leave this area. It means that I can send my goods in this warehouse in this free zone. I can avoid to pay immediately the duties and I can pay these duties only when the goods is sold. So the property of the goods is changed. Of course, in this free zone, I can assemble or I can make some part of the production, but it's very important that um, for the cash flow. So it's not mandatory for me for the company that export in US to pay the duty immediately when the goods reach the United States. Also, for exporting companies, as I said before, to have a legal entity can help a lot. First of all, because the companies could be very close to very close to the customer, and they can provide a better service. They can invoice in US dollar. All the agreement will be done under the US regulation, and you can cash checks and you can provide a better service. But above all, the duty will be charged not on the total price from the done from the European company to the final customer, but only it will be charged only on the section of the cost from done from the European company to his subsidiary, and not also on the markup that will be done from the US subsidiary to the final customer. So I always suggest to all our company has a subsidiary in the US, and it is always suggested to do a US entity, even if there are no tariffs. Also because it's very easy. to set up a corporation. It will be done in a few days with a few thousand of dollars, and you can set up the you can set up the company all over the United States and can operate in all other states that are not present. So, and also the management of the company, of the corporation in the US could be very easy. So the taxation is relaxed. We have a taxation of 21% for regarding the federal tax regarding the margins, and the percentage of the state tax are between 0 and 11%. Depends on the state where you are based, where you conduct your business. And so it's not a high percentage of taxes. But and also what I can say that the the management of a legal entity only to for administration or whatever is very easy. Um, so there are not a lot of documentation to provide. It's not really complicated to run a corporation over there. And also our most of our customer place their address, the address of their company in our offices, and we provide them all the people to manage all the operation regarding administration, management of the administration also regarding the people, customer service, and whatever is needed to run the company. Um, uh, of course, what we cannot do is to make production or to sell directly to make business for the company. Also, another tool very important that can be used is to work on transfer pricing. As I told, it's very important to to break down the transfer pricing, and because the duty will affect only on the value of the product, not on the other section of the product. That could be branding, that could be maintenance, that could be services and whatever. So it's very important that to indicate in your invoice what are the value that build up the invoice. So what else? I think that's come out. I'm done. No, I have another slide. Only another slide that is this. Of course, this administration want that European company goes to in US to make production, to set up their plant and produce in the US for the US market. And they are doing everything to convince companies to invest in the US. Of course, there is perhaps you know that there is a big trade show in the US that will happen in May in Washington, in Maryland, where all the states and all the many counties, the representative of many the states and counties will be there to talk with the manager entrepreneurs and telling what are the benefits in terms of tax credit, loans, facilities, what they can offer to attract their business in the US. It is a very interesting trade show. but that we know very well because we have supported many companies during this show that happens once a year. What I can say that it's very important to go there with a specific plan, very detailed plan, because if you show up, for example, to the representative of Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, California, whatever, the first question that they do is how big is your investment? Uh, and also, um, how many people are you going to hire? And also, big will be your warehouse? So they will ask very specific because in this way they can calculate what are the incentives. We don't we It is important to know that the incentive will not cover all of the cost. It will cover a very small section of the cost of the investment. They will be very helpful, but it be a small section. What is important when you do the site selection is uh, to take care above all about logistics and take care and be very to see if there is the workforce available in that area. Otherwise, you are going to have a lot of problems. This is very important when you do site selection in US. Of course, the incentives are very interesting, but they will end, and also tax will change, tax rate will change, but your plant will be still there. So come on, it's your time. I don't know. You have one more? Okay. Perhaps we have some question, just a moment, about license. What about licenses, exploitation? In my opinion, the duty on license are not on duty. There is no duty on that. Are all tariff addictive? No, it is 145 from China, not 180. It is 125 plus 20. The previous exceeding punitive tariff for China has still affect also more or less addiction to the tariff. Or do the new China tariffs replace this completely? This China, this tariffs will replace completely the previous one, but of course, this fight is going to end in a few weeks. Can nor the neither the US or the China can afford this tariff so high. So I suggest to wait. I'm sure that there will be an agreement because China needs US and US need China for sure. That's from many point of view. So just wait a little bit to understand which will be the tariffs in the long period. Can you help? Can you please define semi-finished ethanol products? We support the production lines. Okay. We need the tariff code, the tariff code, US tariff code to understand which is uh, the duty. What I want to say is that uh, even uh, even if you pay the tariffs and you realize that your product, your material is not available in the US, is it possible to apply for for a free duty. And also the Custom Border Protection will examine your application, and perhaps they will accept. Um, at the moment, there are 50,000 requests from China, and 30% of them have been, 13% of them have been accepted. Does the country-specific custom duty current expansion regarding China depend on the region or province? Yeah, depending on the origin of the provenance of the goods, of course. If you send the goods from China to Italy or to Europe and then to US, the duty is the one applied, and then the duty is the one that will be to China. What about urban services as a service? As a service. As a service, there's no duty. There's no hardware purchase, only service to use, not owned. In my opinion, no, there is no duty. Regarding the minimis, if is the product country origin or from where it is deciding factor? Yes. The that rule doesn't apply, doesn't work for China and Hong Kong. If you ship from China and Hong Kong, there is a duty also on the goods that has a value below 800. Further to the mean, it has been our experience that small business did in the past also benefit from this, and not only to end customer. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. That's not only also also business. Can you tell more semi-finished products, technological products? It depends on the customer, the customer code. And there are some custom code that that in which there are some product that the US consider strategic for their safety. I didn't understand the benefit of a fine filial commercial US. Kamal is writing down the answer. I have to leave. Thank you. Which is the level of tariff for which I purchase from China, then rebrand and send US. It will be 145. Because of course, if your brand is only a brand, but the region is China. Could you please provide the presentation? Yes, we provide the presentation. Okay, come on, it's your turn.
Thank you, Mauro. You can see my screen, right? Right now? Okay. Thank you for the details, and thank you to everybody for your questions. Any more questions you have, please send them in. I've got a few more minutes here. I want to just share some overall thoughts and suggestions. Now, of course, we understand there's a difference between the companies and the products that fall under the 10% tariff and the 25% tariff in terms of the companies that you work for and the items that you produce. So there's a much more, let's say, stringent need to avoid tariffs as much as possible in under the 25% category. However, many products, at least from the customers that we deal with from Italy, Spain, France, Greece, fall under the food and beverage sector, also fashion, crafted goods. And I wanted to make a note regarding this, that Americans in general have a high respect for European products. Additionally, anything that is made in Germany, for example, manufactured goods, equipment, cars, still have a high reputation and a high respect that the American consumer gives to these products. So while now the US consumers are probably going to start searching for locally produced and sourced items, I would recommend and suggest to you, if you do fall into one of these categories, that you heavily push the fact that you are made in Europe, you are made in Italy, in Spain, in particular with food products, because certain food products, as you know, are not able to be produced in the US due to different regulations, Parmesan cheese, Parmigiano Reggiano, certain types of wine, champagne, for example, jamon, many different items that some can't even be imported to the US, but the ones that are, people already know what they're getting. They know they're getting a high quality product. And my suggestion is to keep that reputation strong and wear out the tariffs in the short term by reviewing certain costs in production or operational costs without sacrificing the quality. We had a question on here about didn't understand why we would recommend to open up a filiale or a subsidiary in the US. One way that it could actually be a benefit to your business, besides the transfer pricing, which you can set, and it's a very complicated process with the tariffs. However, separate from the tariffs, once you have a subsidiary in the US, you have an operational base in the US. Let's say you have staff in a team that can man a warehouse, or you use a 3PL, you're able to import in bulk into the US, considering your product doesn't go bad, doesn't have an expiry, to be consumed in a certain amount of time. And then the end logistics, the last mile, as we call in the US, can be handled from the US. So, yes, it's true, you might still have to pay the certain tariffs to go in. However, considering the fact that things change on a day-to-day basis, it's a way to be stable and to have a plan for the future to be able to weather out the storm in the long run. Um, Something else that is, some of our customers are looking to do is to adjust their pricing. While the 10% tariff is a lot, we were talking to somebody, I think it was yesterday, and we're doing a series of these webinars. So somebody spoke to us yesterday and was saying, well, in the EU, we have the VAT, which in the US is not in existence, whereas in the US, they have something called a sales tax. And I'm sure as many of you, exporting your products, you're able to receive a rebate from the VAT on any product manufactured in Europe, which varies from country to country, but let's say 20%, for example. So your European customer is paying for your product with the 20% VAT. However, up until now, when you export to the United States, mm, the US consumer is paying for the product without the VAT, but with the sales tax added, which varies from state to state, but it's around 8, 9%. And so the question to us was, doesn't the other 10, 11% difference between the VAT cost in Europe and then the sales tax cost in the US plus the tariff kind of balance it out? So if you think about it from that point of view, 10% is a lot, but it's not uh, alarming in the way that you would need to raise your prices by 10%. Of course, we know that the end cost, the end price that the consumer in the US pays also includes shipping and logistics and overhead and so on and so forth. So for right now, for those of you that fall under the 10% category, we recommend to take it easy, focus on the quality, perhaps focus more on marketing your product, creating a story behind the products that you sell so that when people are in the grocery store or they're shopping online, they're able to see your website, they're able to see your brand and really understand the story behind it because American consumers pay for the overall package more so than just the product. It's more of an emotional purchase. Now, for example, the manufacturing sectors, aluminum, steel, that sort of thing at the 25% tariff, uh, that's a completely different business proposal that you must take into consideration on how to proceed. But as Mauro said, hopefully this gets resolved soon and there will not be a long-term disruption. One final thing I wanted to leave at is to ensure proper classification. So, as we spoke before, every item that is imported to the US has the product code, the classification code, and there are certain items that are not tariffed at certain rates. Some are tariffed higher, some lower, some not at all. Review your product going into the United States to make sure that you are in the right category. If there's a way to change the category, not to lie, of course, but just to make sure that you are taking most advantage of the laws and the regulation set for you. Um, Also, to ensure that all of your export documentation is accurate and complete in order to prevent delays and additional fees at customs. This is something that some of our smaller clients are having to learn from scratch right now because they have not had to deal with certain tariffs in the past. Yes, there's always been customs, there's always been paperwork, but we do recommend to partner with a licensed customs broker, somebody who has specific knowledge about your specific sector to guide you and give you the best advice on how to import products to the US in order to try to mitigate the situation at hand. If anybody has more questions, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll stay for a few more minutes to answer questions. Additionally, if there's something that we were not able to answer here on the webinar, you can drop us an email. Our email is down below, contacts@gen-usa.com. Additionally, feel free to follow us on LinkedIn, where we post updates quite frequently regarding the situation now. Gen USA is our company page. And feel free to reach out to us by email as well. Let's see, when I stop sharing the screen, I'll be able to see the questions. Mauro, do you want to pick up, see if we've got some more questions left before we drop off?
I'm answering, I'm writing back uh, I'm replying back to the question or writing down. Yeah, yeah. So there are, I think that there are, first, have the companies to be independent. What does it mean? Yeah, it has to be independent. Yes. Uh, yes, has to be independent. So the companies, uh, if I buy, for example, the raw material for somebody, and for at 10 euros, and then I'll sell to somebody else to 20 euros, and this new company sell in US for 50 euros. Everybody has to be independent. And of course, the duty will be charged on the first 10 euros, not to the 50 euros. We will send you details about this rule. That, of course, is not used when the tariffs are zero, but now not zero anymore. So perhaps perhaps it will be back in at that time. Perhaps not. Perhaps there will be still um, some tariffs. So it's better to get used to these topics. Uh, so no, it works also if it is a subsidiary. If you sell it to your subsidiary, it works the first sense. Thank you for. Can you this moment? Can you please recommend a custom broker? We have a lot of shipment company we can suggest. One is very well organized in the US is Savino del Bene. We have many customers that works with them. They do shipment from Europe, and they have a lot of warehouse in US. They have a warehouse in New Jersey, New York, Florida, Texas, and California. So they are very good. They work a lot with uh, they work a lot with a fashion company, but not only fashion. Okay, I think that it's 1 hour. If you have other question for please just send us the question. My email is mauro.bandelli, as you see in my screen in the screen. So my name is Mauro Bandelli, and the email is mauro.bandelli @gen not underscore dash USA.com. And or the other email, the company mail is contacts@gen-usemail.com. We will send you the recording of the presentation, and we will send also the slides. And if you just want to have a free consultation, just call us at any time. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank you
Kamal.
all. Thank you, Mauro. Have a good day, everybody. Bye bye.